Okay, so just wrapping up the Rebbe's Maimer Ani Ladodi Li from Lamed Beis, Tafshin Lamed Beis. So in O's test, we're just finishing up the Maimer. Basically, returning to the original question of the Maimer, many of these Maimerim ask the same question. If Ani Ladodi Li is Rosh Tevas Elul, refers to Elul, then why is it that V'dodi Li is also included in it? V'dodi Li represents in general the Hamshacha that happens on Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippurim, right? Because it's first Ani L'dodi, I'm to my beloved, and the V'dodi Li comes back to me is the revelation from Rosh Hashanah. So why is that also included into the words Elul? V'dodi Li is part of Elul, which implies that Elul also bears this notion of the Hamshacha. So after all that we've said in the previous classes, we're going to read the answer to that question. V'zeu ani v'dodi li rosh tevas Elul. This is what it means. I am to my beloved is to me, which all is included in Elul. D'zeh shev'dodi li nichlal b'rosh tevas Elul. This, that the second part, v'dodi li, is included in Elul. Hu ki zeh she'al de avodah ani v'dodi ve'elul. It's because inside of the avodah of ani v'dodi that we do in Elul. That's what creates and brings forth the Hamshacha of Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. In other words, if you don't have Elul, you can't get to it. Like we've been saying all this time, that, like the Tzemach Tzedek says, why do we blow the shofar in Elul? Because in order to get to Yira Ilah, the higher level of fear, you have to get to the lower. You have to first start with the lower level of fear. And basically, as we explained in a deeper way, the bittul of Elul is much greater, which was the ingenuity of the Rebbe, basically, to explain how it's greater even than the bittul of Rosh Hashanah and the 10 days of Tshuva, which we explained previously. And therefore, without arriving at that stage of bittul, you can't ever get to the Hamshacha and fill in the Makifim and so forth of Yom Kippur and the 10 days of Tshuva. So we said, therefore, that's why it's included, V'dodi Li, the Hamshacha of Rosh Hashanah is included inside of the word Elul. It's because the avodah of Elul, that through it, ki avodah da ani ladodi, the avodah of ani ladodi, of reaching out to Hashem, going into the field, receiving the malchus, malchus shemayim, megia ba'atzmus. It reaches, as we said, to the atzmus. Right? We said because the avodah is coming from the standpoint of the Jew himself, not because of revelation. Because the source of the Jew comes from the essence of Hashem himself, and this is something you're doing, you're like awakening the atzmus, by like awakening yourself without a revelation being the cause of it. Just from within, since you're basically awakening the atzmus, shemisham nimshachim kol hagiluim, and from there is where all the revelations come out. Is this like ringing a bell? Right? We said that the revelations of Rosh Hashanah, which is awesome revelation of the Or Ein Sof light and so forth, but the Or Ein Sof light is only a revelation from the essence. So the fact that it shines all of a sudden in Rosh Hashanah is only because something is making it shine. What's it making it shine is the Atzmus. Why the Atzmus all of a sudden is bringing forth all of its revelations is because the Yidden in Elul awakened the Atzmus in their own avoda, and that's what elicits the Hamshach of Rosh Hashanah. The Elul, therefore inside of the Ani Ladodi in Elul, of I am to my beloved, this work that we do with ourselves, Klu Lagam Hamshacha de V'dodi Li. So it contains actually the Hamshacha that will come down, V'dodi Li, which is the revelation of Rosh Hashanah. It includes it, because once you have the essence, you have already all the revelation that comes out of the essence. It just didn't get revealed yet. But you certainly can't get the revelations if you don't have the essence first, because the revelations are merely a revelation of the essence.
It's a problem, though.
You have a problem? What's the problem?
Why is it like Rosh Hashanah is from the Torah, isn't it? Like it says, like it's from the Torah, yeah?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, well if it was in the Torah, why like and he said like and Hashem said like this is in the Torah, like you have to like do whatever in this month, in this day, in this week, 10 days of all. So why it didn't say like about it didn't say like you have to do Elul. This is like how does it say you've got a revelation on Rosh Hashanah and it doesn't like say that you have like so what if nobody did anything?
But you're saying like the most beautiful thing right now, you don't realize it. The whole point is that you can't be commanded to do this revelation, to do the preparation for Rosh Hashanah.
Yeah.
Because the notion of command, right, is that it's coming to you from God.
That's what we learn from the mind.
Right, exactly. So the whole idea of the shofar of Elul is that it's not a mitzvah.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it higher. Because once you're commanded already, it means you're dealing with Hashem on the level of His will, which is high and wonderful, and it's makif and everything, but it's not, His will is also something that comes out of Him, and it's an expression of Him. It's not He Himself. To get to the He Himself, you have to go past the will of what we call the Baal Haratzon, the one who bears the will. And in order to do that, you can't associate with Him at the level of what He desires, because you're only, if that's like the level that you're associating with, you're only going to ever to reach to the level of His desire, which is the mitzvah. You follow me? To get to Him Himself, you have to just move towards Him without sort of being commanded. And why is that possible? Why is that not found in the Torah? Because ultimately the Jewish people precede the Torah. It says the Jewish people, Alub Machshava, they went up in Hashem's thought, and Kadmu the Torah, and they also preceded the Torah. In other words, our connection with Hashem is not merely that we do what it says in the Torah. We're like His B'ni B'chori, we're His firstborn son, right? We have an intrinsic connection, and the Torah is just an expression of that connection that we already have. So the idea that there's a mitzvah in the Torah to that expresses the revelation of our connection means that it precedes already an assumption that we have that connection. That connection is found in Elul. Ani ledodi, ani, I do it myself, right, so to speak.
But there's still, like, for those like, I mean, there's obviously different levels. Some people like they just go to like Knesset every morning. That's the difference with them for Elul. So they get a revelation that's just less or something. Or?
Yeah, your revelation that comes from the essence depends on how much of the essence, like, so to speak, how powerful of a connection you have to the essence. So that's how your Rosh Hashanah is going to wind up being, and then your whole year.
But intrinsically,
this is basically our chance to create the coming year in full state of revelation that can be, and it all depends on our avodah of Elul. It's like the most precious time.
But there's obviously some like intrinsic bit that's like, what about the Jew that doesn't do anything? Rosh Hashanah still, there's some revelation for him, like
the revelation. The revelation is like this. We're going to get into this in the next mimer, but the revelation, which I said there, it's a little bit redundant to some of the points, but it's okay. The revelation is like this. The fact that the king is in his palace means that that in of itself is a revelation. To see the awesomeness of the king and realize how great the king is, it's a revelation, which makes you in a state of fear when you're standing before the king at that standing of the palace, right? However, what does it say in the mashal is that at that time, when the king is in the palace, only the precious of the people, the chosen ones, and the unique individuals are able to go in and speak to the king. The idea of going in and speaking to the king is like your private revelation for the year. Not everybody gets it. In fact, very few people, only the chosen of the people get it. Everyone else gets a revelation on Rosh Hashanah. They're standing before the king on that holy day. But the idea that they have like backstage passes, only a few people actually get the revelation. Those are the people that earned it in Elul. Because they're actually getting the full revelation of the king because they sort of went out and made a relationship with the king when he was available to them. Those who didn't go out and make a relationship with the king, they don't really get the full revelation on Rosh Hashanah.
They see the king in the palace.
They see the king in the palace. They get like a sort of general notion of his awesomeness that but
I noticed like Mitzrayim, the bondage in Mitzrayim was essential to the revelation on Sinai that it happened preceded.
Okay. So what does the bondage of Mitzrayim have to do with this?
I'm saying that brought us to a low level, a real low level before we came to this real high level. It was like essential that we were brought down to that before we could get the revelation on Sinai. We experienced the bondage of Egypt.
It's true, but so that's like going into the field in Elul because we're in a low state.
Yeah, I'm making a correlation back to Elul.
Okay. All right. So anyway, this is how we receive the revelations on Rosh Hashanah, because in Elul we get the essence. So it comes out that really the Rosh Hashanah is already contained inside of the Elul, right? Because in the Elul you have the essence, and really if you have the essence already, it bears its own revelations within. It just didn't come out yet. V'yesh lomar. What'd you say?
It's actually it's like more mundane, so it's closer in a way.
V'yesh lomar dezehu mashat kiyas techodesh Elul. Alpi minhag Chabad, This is why the shofar blast of Elul, at least according to the tradition of Chabad, and I don't say at least, this is like the notion of Chabad minhagim are tapped into this whole concept, in other words, of Al-Pi Kabbalah in this deep way, that we say the whole 10 blasts in Elul, right? Not everybody says the whole 10 blasts, right? Tekiya Shvarim Trua Tekiya, Tekiya Shvarim Tekiya, Tekiya Trua Tekiya. Every day in Elul we say all 10. Kol HaKol Shetokim Rosh Hashanah, which is basically all the different blasts that you make on Rosh Hashanah, you say them on Elul. Why? Ki Batkiyas de Elul. Because in the shofar blast of Elul, Yeshnam Kol Inyanim Shabbatkiyas de Rosh Hashanah. Because what we're saying now is that Elul bears in it everything that Rosh Hashanah has, but in a concentrated way, because you have like drawn down the essence. Rosh Hashanah is just a revelation what comes afterwards. So therefore, in this shofar, which represents basically the fear and the avoda that we're doing to get there, you already blast all 10. There's a difference, however. Elul, we only say 10. It would be in the shul a lot longer for it to say all what we say on Rosh Hashanah. We only make 10 blasts. On Rosh Hashanah we have 100. It's just the 100 is just 10 of the exact same thing. In other words, 10 tens. But nonetheless, we do the whole Seder, right? Not everybody has the minhag of doing all the Seder of all 10. In Rosh Hashanah, nonetheless, you expand these 10 into 100 because you do that 10 times. So why is that? What's the difference? He says, it's because the blasts of Elul, since they are the root of everything that's going to be drawn down on Rosh Hashanah, therefore they're what's called l'mayla mehis chalkus. They're in a state where they're like above divisions. Division only comes out when you reveal something. When something is essential, then everything is like sort of is equalized in one. When it's inside of the essence, because it's not in a state of revelation, you can't start dividing it and breaking it up. So since we're drawing down it's like a seed. So when we're drawing down the essence, so we have everything, but you don't have all of it in its revealed parts. That like the idea of 10 times 10 is that you take every one of those 10 and you reveal all the different parts of it. Since in Elul you have the essential essence, then you don't have all the parts, and that's why it's only 10 and not 100. It's actually again shows on something which is higher than revelation. Okay, that through our deeds and our work, particularly the avodah of the work of Elul, we will bring closer and hasten further the Geula, as is hinted into the words Elul, which in the several different Roshei Tevos of Elul, the acronym Lahavaya Vayomru Leimur Ashira. It comes from one of the places where the Arizal brings out that you see Roshei Tevos Elul is in the Shir Hayam, when the Jewish people came out of Mitzrayim. Here's your connection to Mitzrayim. The Jewish people came out of Mitzrayim and they experienced the Geula, so it's Roshei Tevos Elul. Lahavaya Vayomru Leimur Ashira, right? And ki az yatsu kol nitzutzos ma'agalus, because at that time they brought out all of the sparks from Galus that had been trapped, and they brought them with them across the Yam. And this is the Indian of the Geula, which is connected to Elul. V'kevan sheba'elul mekabel hamelech as kulam b'sev panim yafos umar panim sochos lekulam. Since the king is in the field and he's ready to receive everyone with shining face, hari bevadesh hamelech. And certainly the king will fulfill the request of every single Jew. He should be written and sealed in the book of life for a good and sweet year, in a goodness which is seen and revealed, both for spiritual blessings, learning Torah and fulfilling mitzvahs, also in physical things, and how much more so the main request of all the Jewish people, the ultimate and complete redemption, Amen. Okay.
It's a bracha.
Yeah. Okay, maybe we'll hold here.